What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the Stock Hustle channel with your boy William. Today is Friday, November 19th. As always, guys, nothing that is discussed on the channel is financial advice. I'm simply providing people financial education that I then hope they will use to understand you don't have to slave in 9 to 5s if you don't want to. You can easily hustle 24/7 in the market and still be able to accomplish all those financial goals, dreams, and aspirations you may have for yourself. As with anything else in life, you're always going to get out whatever you choose to put in, right? But it all falls on you at the end of the day. So let's get into it, right? So this is going to be a recap video. I'm going to start doing this something new. Before, usually I would make videos Sunday through Thursday, and then I would take Friday off. Every once in a while, I would throw a video out there on Saturday if I found a lot of really good plays that I wanted to talk about. So I'm going to implement this into the rotation and start giving you guys update videos on Friday afternoons. So we're going to recap a couple plays, but before we do, let's take a look at the indices chart. As you see, the market was very choppy today. I'm sure most of you that were in the market felt the same things that all of the rest of the traders did, as most of the plays you expected to go up either traded sideways or went down, and then some of the plays you didn't expect to go up did end up going. Now, for us specifically, we did have a couple bangers that I want to talk about today, so let's go ahead and jump straight into it, right? Going into the chart, the first request that I had for a play was specifically, my mouse would work. What happened? Let's try this again. There we go. All right. So going into the first play that people wanted it to me for me to do a recap, was VUZI, right? Or VUZI Corp. Specifically where you see the yellow arrow is where I dropped the video. As you see, we did have a green day specifically that day, and as I was mentioning in that video, we were closely approaching to break out of this trend, which you do see that we've been respecting this downward trend ever since April, right? Why are trends important? Because trends are our friends, right? You don't ever want to go against the grain, you want to go with the grain. So anytime you get close to a breakout, you definitely want to be a player if you are interested in a play, because potentially what you're going to enjoy is a new trend basically going up, or something to the nature of like this, right? Something going a little bit maybe in this direction, right? Or this vicinity, right? But to get specifically, as you see, we did have a green day, which broke us above the trend. There was a couple reportings on Facebook. Facebook's been putting out a lot of commercials on Meta. Specifically, if you have YouTube TV or Google TV, you've been seeing a significant amount of media coverage on Meta, right? It's getting a lot of hype because, again, the ticker change will be happening in early December. So obviously, there's a lot of attention on it. VUZI being a smart glasses company, which goes hand in hand with essentially with something potentially that Meta or AR will do. You can see the kind of correlation why people are putting these two things together, right? But for our chart specifically, we did have a golden cross that occurred a couple days prior to the video that I missed. I didn't actually mention it on the video. And then we recently had another one essentially today, even though we did have a pullback day, right? Putting us back within trend, right? So it'll be important to see what we choose to do essentially come Monday morning, if this will push to the top side as it's supposed to with a golden cross, or if it's going to push to the downside. Specifically looking at our indicators, you need to be aware of a couple things, right? If you choose to enter a position. As you see, the MACD is closely converging or getting ready to converge into a selling period, right? Or we'll start formulating red candles on the bottom side of the center line. Our RSI is essentially sitting right at neutral at 52 or a little bit above. And our ATR is essentially giving us a $1.35 swing, or otherwise a $2.70 swing, either to the upside or to the downside. Important thing to remember, guys, ATR doesn't tell you the direction of the swing, it just tells you the potential size of it, right? Let's go into our next play, or our next ticker specifically was GPN, right? Global Payments Incorporated. This one is a play that I am super bullish on, because I believed it to be very undervalued, right? So as you see, we've been respecting this downward trend from April 26th on through. This play specifically, as you see, we are below this trend line. It would definitely need to come up to the top side before we would want to enter a position. They did report earnings, and they did have stellar earnings, as I did tell you. Again, this play has been run down significantly a lot. Over the course of this correction that we had in the Nasdaq, and then even through that has continued to run down, even though it's been reporting good earnings, right? So this is a play that I'm definitely watching. I have not entered a position. You can expect to see me enter a position when we get into this vicinity over here, right? Or if we start getting some momentum behind it and start pushing to the top side. Take a look at our indicators. We are extremely oversold in the RSI. Our ATR is reflecting to us an $4.40 swing, or otherwise an $8.80 swing potential, either to the top side or to the bottom side. And our MACD is getting ready to converge into a buying period, right? Going into this buying period, this is definitely a play you want to be checking out on unusual whales to see when whales start to buy in or throw their money into the pot, because that will definitely get you or net you some positive returns. Again, keep an eye on this one. This is a play that I have been watching literally every single day. Going into the options chain, right, real quick, just to take a quick peek. For this week, as you see, the volume was really not there for us specifically at all today, right? But going into next week, potentially that might start to pick up, or for the next expiration, excuse me, which is the next monthly in December. Hopefully, if you start to see a high increase in volume, this is definitely something you would want to watch specifically at that point, right? Again, not all plays are always going to be winners, guys. No one in the stock market can predict exactly what a stock will do. Unfortunately, if you did, you were more than likely on your own island, live on a beach, and literally have the best life ever, right? Because you could easily make money every single day. Trading takes work. You have to have good psychology. You have to have a good mentality. You have to stay positive. Even on days like today where everything is getting beat down, or like yesterday when the market was very red, that's where you're tested the most, right? To see who really wants to be a trader and who does not, right? So again, keep your eyes on GPN. I'm still watching this very closely. I know a lot of you guys viewed this play. I had a lot of questions on it specifically. Just keep an eye on it. Eventually, it's going to find a floor, and when it finds a floor, that's when you want to throw your money in, right? This is still currently a falling knife. For those of you that don't know what a falling knife is, essentially you are trying to buy the dip, right? So let's say you throw your money in here thinking, oh, this is the dip, and then it dips more as you think it's about to converge or cross over that trend, and it dips more. Again, falling knife will cut you. So it just keeps falling and falling. What you want to see is this play start to trade sideways essentially, or consolidate in a buying period, maybe in the MACD, with the RSI start heading north and essentially building some green momentum candles specifically, building, and then eventually breaking through this trend for a confirmation that it will head to the top side. If you go back historically into this play specifically, as I tried to allude in the video, this play has been a monster, right? It's trended in the upper 150 area, as high as 220 area. It's got some crazy price targets. Just look at the COVID dip, right? Prior to COVID, this would be here, right? February. We were essentially trending at 207. COVID dip brought it all the way down essentially to 105. Do I feel that this falling knife will fall to the 105 area? Of course not. No, no one would expect that. Why? What catalyst would prevent that or cause that, right? However, it has to eventually find a floor. I think it's getting close. This mark here at the 120 potentially could give it some support to build a floor, but again, it's still to be determined. Just keep your eyes on it. Again, this is going to be a really good play that's going to produce a lot of money for a lot of people if you time it right. My next one was a play that I was super bullish on, right? When I made the video, we had actually just broken out of a trend specifically, which was this trend line here, right? When I made the video, it was essentially on the evening of the 11th, start of the 12th. We had just broken out trend with a couple of days, right? Again, I explained to you guys, MU is a monster. They produce monster earnings reports. They had just had an earnings report. They had a dividend payout, right? A lot of bullish catalysts, specifically in their line of business. They haven't had a lot of noise. They haven't been making a lot of noise, right? Like some of the other semi plays out there. So specifically, I like this play for that reason alone. On top of the fact, it's very local to me. I know a couple people that actually work for MU. So it made me even more bullish just hearing some of the things they had been telling me. But after the video dropped, you see that we had another green day essentially, and then we had this massive push to the top side today specifically, ending the day 7.8% up, or $6.01 gain, right? So if you bought in on the play, congratulations to you, shout out. I still believe that this play will produce more money. There's a lot of really good momentum behind this play. Anything semi right now, right, with the infrastructure bill that was just signed and all the money that's going to be going to them to prevent chip shortages from ever happening again, you're going to see the big time players get a lot of money, and they're going to do a lot of really good things with that money. That's going to in turn reflect in the share price, right? So just keep your eyes on MU. I know there was a lot of people talking about it today on Twitter. I know a couple people played it specifically that I follow on Twitter, and they made some pretty nice returns. Again, if you played it and you made some money, shout out to you specifically, right? And let's see, the next play was SPLK or Splunk, right? This play was a play that out of nowhere dropped significantly, right, with essentially a CEO change. However, as I showed you guys in the video, I felt that this was an overreaction because the CEO is still retained as an advisor to the company. However, they are in the middle of a transition, right? They're going from just a software company to a software as a service company, or otherwise known as SaaS, right? Now, for that transition, the company has elected to go with a new CEO, specifically a CEO with experience in that business model, right? That specifically being Salesforce. The new CEO comes from Salesforce, so he has experience in a SaaS business model. I think it's a great transition for Splunk. Specifically, the day of this massive drop, there was also an article that dropped because Kathy Wood entered a new position into Splunk with the change. It made her very bullish to see the outlook on Splunk. Again, it is finding support right here at the 132.47. As you see, we have support back here with candles formed specifically on it, multiple touch points. This is a strong support. Hopefully the support will last and hold, and if we do, we should see a nice bounce to the top side come Monday. Again, keep your eyes on this. Specifically, this will be another good money maker. Again, you see that we did have a death cross, which reflects the downward trend. However, if we do see some push to the top side, or our indicators start to help us out, because again, you see that we are oversold in the RSI. Our ATR is showing as essentially a $12 swing, and we are getting close, hopefully, to finding a floor in the MACD and then converging to the top side, starting our buying period. That'll give us some bullish momentum on the backside of that, right? And the last play I want to talk about specifically was an entry video that I gave for new investors, which was GM. I use GM. I don't know why it keeps doing that. I use GM as an example video for my new investors, right? Again, it was a very easy play. It's been talked about a lot. It's now carrying a meme status on it, right? What I highlighted on this video specifically on Thursday was death crosses and golden crosses, as you see highlighted on the screen, right? If you didn't watch the video and you want to understand what a death cross or golden cross is, please watch it, right? It's important. I also gave you guys a strategy in regards to an entry position, basically following an SMA, which is a simple moving average. Anytime you're using it as support or resistance, when you start formulating green candles completely above an SMA, that is your entry point, right? When you start formulating red candles below it, that is essentially your exit point. Using that simple strategy alone will help you plan when to enter and when to exit a play, right? Why is that important, right? If you do not plan an entry and an exit to a play, that is your plan for failure specifically, right? It is always important to have an entry plan and an exit plan in any trade you ever initiate, right? In anything involved in the stock market, right? But as you see, the video was dropped essentially here on the 15th, evening of the 15th, morning of the 16th. I had explained to you guys that there was a couple alerts that I showed you in Unusual Whales, alerting for a call for next week, Friday the 26th. I had stated to you, because we were overextended in the RSI into overbought, that potentially we would have a red day. And in fact, we have done that now, having 2 consecutive red days. Today was another red day, going down essentially 0.85%, or down 53 cents. Now we're sitting at this resistance or support level, excuse me, of 61.81. Now, again, because of the alerts that have come through, I've not gone through to scope Unusual Whales yet, but I'm sure if we start seeing more and more alerts for next Friday, you'll get a lot of positive sentiment behind us, and this will make another push to the top side. Again, our ATR is essentially giving us $1.88, or what is that? $3.26? No, $2.74, something to that nature. You can do the calculator, do the math. I had a long day at work, so I'm a little tired, but again, I think you guys get the point. So that is the play updates for the past week, or the past 5 days. Now, another thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is how to use Unusual Whales specifically on a Friday, right? So on a Friday evening or a Saturday, normally what I will do is I will use the flow and use the downtime to my advantage to try to find some good plays, right? One of the ways that I do that hunting for plays is I'll go in here and I'll choose my filters. We'll start from the navigation screen. Go to my filters, right? I'll go in here. I'll add premium of 250,000, right? Because I'm trying to see what big whales are out there. I'll do ask only, right? Because I want to see ask. I'll go ahead and add all the emojis, right? I want to see everything. Give me back my ask. And then we will go down specifically. Sectors, you can choose by sectors. You go down here, drop down to calls specifically, right? You're trying to find bullish trends. Specifically, I will go volume over open interest specifically, and that is all I will start with, right? Another thing that in the last video, someone brought to my attention that I completely forgot. This piece here, that's 250, if you exit and enter unusual wells or go to multiple pages, it has a tendency to reset. That was my bad. I didn't catch it. It is important to make sure you drop this to 250 to get a bigger scope when you are looking at the chart specifically, right? Please remember to make sure that you set this to 250 so you get the biggest scope possible, right? But essentially, what you go doing through the flow is you are looking for spikes in volume over open interest, right? You're looking for premium and you're looking for recent expiration dates. So for example, this is a good one, right? 11/26, you have 200 or 336,000, right? You have 12,900 volume on 10,400 open interest. I would rather see lower open interest, but again, it's just a quick example. I didn't pre-record this video. I'm just dropping it live, going through the flow so that you guys kind of get an understanding of what it's like to do this live, right? This is a good one here. A bot call, 12/17. I would rather try to find something for 11/26 to be honest. This Lucid, there's a lot of sold calls and then bot calls, right? So sold calls are a bearish essentially trade. For those of you that don't understand, potentially this is just a trade initiated just for the premium collection, right? Thinking that potentially Lucid will trade sideways, not necessarily go up. Again, there's a couple ways to interpret that trade, so just be careful, right? Let's see if we can find something very, very bullish. Roblox had a good push today. So this one is a good one. Look, $260,000 premium. 10,000 volume on 7,000. Open interest at the 130. We're sitting at the 134. I would rather see something a little higher. Let's see. ZM. ATVI. ATVI has been beat down really, really bad. But this is a floor trade. So, okay. So a floor trade is really bullish. 869 volume on 202 open interest. Okay. Got my attention. 392,000. Okay. We're sitting at 62. This is for the 62.50. And it's an opening trade too. So this little bag that looks like a money bag is essentially an opening trade position, which is you can actually filter for that here. I learned that from Snorlax. Shout out to him if he's watching. But you can do it this way, and there you see it's right there on the opening trade section, right? But essentially what you do is if you find something that's really bullish, what I would do is go then AVTI, pull the chart, right? No, that's not it. ATBI, excuse me. ATBI, pull the chart, and then you would start formulating your opinion by going through your fundamentals of the chart, right? Again, please pay attention to this downward trend. Pay attention to the MACD in a selling period, right? Pay attention to the RSI and oversold. And then you would want to pay attention to essentially that the ATR is giving you a close to $5 swing potential, right? I would want to make sure you add specifically on this, stuff like this, right? Again, as I alluded to in the previous video, you want to add your volume profile. And then before you do anything else, right, try to find your supports and your resistance so that you can formulate your opinion correctly, right? So that way, if it's something you want to enter, you enter it that way, right? But again, just a quick idea, something you guys can do over the weekend, especially for all the newbies out there. If you're wanting to learn the flow, there is no better way than to filter through the flow yourself. Again, obviously, we have the option of going through the alerts, right? Specifically, which is going to just point things out a lot easier to you. But if you want to learn, right, learn the hard way, because anyone can do the easy way, right? That's just my motto or my thinking. That's how I raise my sons. That's how I do things in life. But again, I think you guys get the point. As always, if you guys have questions, please leave them down in the comments below. If you appreciated the video, give me a like or a subscription. I will always appreciate that. You can always hit me up on IG and Twitter, and I will catch you guys in the next one.